Hello everyone and welcome back. Sunday evening, we have volatility on Bitcoin. Do we trust this? My answer is no. I don't know what to think. Right after I finished my stream last night, Saturday, the least volatile day, and it played out as per my expectations. As soon as I click end stream, we just start pumping like crazy. Too much, actually, to the point where we reached $125,000 for Bitcoin, which is a new all-time high. Our previous all-time high would have been, what, 124,568? We now hit 125,843, almost 126 even. That's not normal, is it? So, yeah, now we're just up at 123,408. Kind of coming down a little bit since that all-time high, but still ranging at the top nonetheless, which is fine. It's cool to see that. We have a bit of a discrepancy though, and this is where I get lost. So yesterday I kind of gave some temporary support levels based off of, you know, the pivot levels that I was able to use at the time, which was looking like it would have been 121,000. Your first support. The second one, it's looking like 118,000, which I believe is still practically valid. We have a new pivot level, so this is what's throwing me off. Next 114, and then lowest point 112. And someone pointed this out in the comments, which is true. We do have basically a CME gap because of this rise over the weekend right over here, which same deal kind of happened. I don't know. It seems like we're preemptively just rising during the weekends, and we just keep on going higher from that. This weekend, that exact same scenario it almost played out. We've kind of came back down a little bit, so I don't think there's going to be necessarily a CME gap for this weekend. There could still be one, but not as likely. Even if there is one, it's just going to be such a small difference in price that I feel like it's just immediately going to be filled. But for the time being, we don't have the one at the bottom over here filled. We don't have one at 93,000 filled. We don't have one at, what, 6,000 filled, whatever it was, all the way at the bottom. Not all CME gaps will have to be filled. And we don't have to worry about that in the future anyways, because in 2026, we covered this news already. They are planning to roll out 24/7 trading, so we don't have to worry about CME gaps, that whole, you know, oh, it's going to crash because the gap needs to get filled, or whatever the case may be. So that's a little positive, but for what we've got right now, new pivot levels, it's pointing at 119,561. Support one, it's looking at 113,280. That is really far below. All of these are super distant to the point where support 5 is at 84,000. Why? It's likely due to the amount of volatility that we got last week, right? So at this stage, I'm willing to think more like, yeah, that huge distance is like a volatility, the price movement that we just got last week. It's causing these pivot levels to be far more spread out. I could barely even talk. The only good thing that came out of it, I guess, is resistance 2 is at 135,402, which coincides with a previous target that I had for Bitcoin. I already took profit on my Bitcoin right over there, so I'm not in the race anymore, but I do plan on entering if the opportunity does present itself to me, which I was eyeing the 116,000 level, which now it seems like there's nothing going on at 116,000. It all really depends. Only time will tell. Supertrend rose up to 118,381, up from what we were looking at yesterday. So, you know, at that rate, maybe this is our support. I don't know. I should get rid of these by now. Because, you know, Fibonacci's are broken. We're basically nearing or at uncharted territory. Based off of the fib extension that I have drawn, a really long-term one. Let me zoom out over here. So it's basically this one. Even this might be outdated at this point. I don't know. But that's where I got my original target at 135,000, right? Super trend on the weekly chart is on the rise too, already above 100,000. Interesting. Yeah, well, it just keeps getting stronger. That's good. What do we do? Do we even trust this? I don't even know. I'll stay away from the weekly chart. We do expect things to continue higher nonetheless. Yeah, it's going to be tough. Nonetheless, here, okay, 129,000, another resistance. I'm just going to not draw any Fibonacci's and just let the price do whatever it has to do. But for support, immediate support, if you do, I guess, want to find an entry, me specifically, where I would probably re-enter, around that area, 119, 118. Yeah. Duality, hello, welcome. So, that is the plan for now. We got the response from Hamas, which we'll be talking about. It wasn't an actual response, it was more of a, yeah, we're going to plan on doing something, just give us this more time. Which it's like, okay, that's already counterintuitive and goes against what we were reading yesterday. The taco thing, the Trump always chickens out. The whole situation where it's like, Trump says, there will be no delays this time. By 6 p.m., Hamas must provide their response. Okay, well, they kind of did. But it's not like the ceasefire is in effect just yet. We're going to discuss that later on. We also have some Aster news to talk about. A bit of FUD going on in terms of the volume data that's being posted. I was sharing these posts before about, yeah, Aster's volume seems to be outpacing its competitor, Hyperliquid. I thought maybe that's all just because it's new, it's from Binance, it's a competitor, Hyperliquid. People see Binance as, you know, hitting all-time highs and being the biggest centralized exchange in the world, even though you can't use it in Canada or maybe even the US at this point, I don't know. But yeah, so that's what people were thinking, and the fact that CZ was promoting it like crazy is why Aster has been performing very well. But we have news from DeFi Llama claiming that maybe the volume being published by Aster is fake numbers, and that coincides with the airdrops that we're having today, causing the price of Aster to come down a little bit. Not as much as I was expecting, actually. We're actually even hovering at 190. So the crash was not even that bad. It's pretty well contained at that point. Just goes to show the community, the people still believing in Aster, are there. They're not even letting the price drop at this point. I was hoping for a crash down to 150s or maybe even 125, 127. I don't know. Never mind. Seems like the 120s are out of the question at this point. So in the 150s would have been a decent entry. Even I would have considered entering at that point, but it doesn't seem like that will be the case. Maybe, depending on how this week plays out. It's honestly going to be really tough how this week will play out. We're getting a Fed Chair Powell speech, that's for sure. We're probably not going to get economic data. Maybe we will, depending on how long this government shutdown lasts. It's still ongoing, by the way. So it's rough. We don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. Bitcoin is still, you know, at all-time highs or nearing all-time highs. That's, I guess, positive, but so is everything else. It was only a matter of time for Bitcoin to catch up, and we were getting an earful from Peter Schiff, so it's about time we shut that guy up. So it's good that Bitcoin did this kind of movement, but it's all like, okay, what is next? What is next for all of this? Yeah, so we'll discuss that in the news, and then we'll come up with our conclusion by the end of the stream, so stay tuned for that. I'll try to make it a priority to talk about it. So, yeah, that's what we got. Ethereum, where are you? 810 profit right now. It also rose along with Bitcoin, so we did not top out over here. I'm just going to remove this. Same deal. Like, I'm not going to draw any Fibonacci's until we basically figure out where our tops are. Seems like we have a resistance 4,760 due to this high, and resistance one right over here. Pivot support at 4,391, 4,400, one could say. I think I had that level covered from before. Super trend is still on the rise. 4,238 is where it's relaxing a little bit. My stop loss is below that, so it's at a tactical level. I won't have to worry about losing money on Ethereum. That's the only good news I have about it for me. Yeah. Hello, JMB. Welcome back, sir. Check Ondo. You're on long. Ondo. Cannot type. Go to USDT chart. Okay. I haven't looked at Ondo's price action really ever, so this is going to be me going into this fresh. So I'm going to keep the bias that you're long. First, I'm going to do like a top-down kind of deal. So we do have a long-term uptrend. That is good. And we technically are in a downtrend for the weekly chart. We have to break above 133. All right. I'm trying to think here. Would this matter at all for today's context? It looks like it does. That's the downtrend that we're going to have to worry about breaking in the short term. Now we could kind of go down to smaller time frame. We could also, I mean, let me go back here. Looking at resistance levels. 98 is your immediate resistance, right? Let's see if this coincides with anything. It does. Resistance 1 from your pivots. So I think with time, you know, as this triangle kind of gets closer, it will be sufficient, hopefully. Or maybe not. Might take a while. But seems like it is able to reach that $1 target. It's going to be rough, though. $1 is going to be rough to break. Because you got a downtrend, you got resistances at 98. We also have a rejection from this candle over here, and we're kind of on the way down a little bit, like in much shorter term. But you have good stuff going for you as well. Support level, if you want to reinforce positions, or maybe even if I was to decide if I wanted to enter into Ondo, I'd be looking at 86 for an entry. Since you are already there, don't know exactly where, I just keep an eye out for that $1 psychological area, right? And the 98 cents resistance before we can see any potential good breakouts, which I would be leaning toward, yeah, we are going to break out of that. I'm pretty sure most altcoins will perform well, right? Because we are nearing that alt season. I don't recall if we're getting an Ondo ETF. I think we will. These guys deal with RWA, right? So tokenized assets and stuff like that. I've talked about them before, but I've never really analyzed the chart. Yeah. You do have a take profit at 98. Cool. That's good, yeah. Anything 98 or beforehand, because you don't want your take profit just, you know, basic price action stuff. You don't want it like in between or after where the barriers are, because the barriers are here for the price to kind of like near it and bounce low. So you want to put your take profit like just before that so that it does get hit in that scenario, right? So yeah, looks good overall. Congrats on that one. All right. What else do I normally look at here that's useful? World Liberty Finance is lacking, and I dislike that. I could have taken profits on this before, but I just decided not to. I don't know. I was being greedy with my take profit. Same deal, right? It was... My take profit was over here at 23 for World Liberty Finance. I purchased over here, and over here my average price is practically where we are right now. So... yeah, I should have been paying attention to, you know, same scenario, what I'm telling you. The take profits have to be at or below resistance levels, because here we kind of peaked through that resistance, but we didn't achieve the next one, and my take profit was even further above that. So, yeah, I deserve to be in this choppiness area, but yeah, we do have this resistance over here, so that's practically where I'm putting my take profit. Might even have to lower it, because it seems like this has kind of gone down a little. I'm pretty sure I was basing these levels off previous pivot levels. Yeah, I was. So like averaging out this level, and this one. I'm going to have to readjust that over here. Might even do it right now. So we're 2186. I don't know, just literally drop this down. Yeah, 2185, 2186. Sure, whatever. We'll just leave it there. Slight adjustment on the take profit on World Liberty Finance. All right. Solana, 229, still stuck around that 230 area. Uptrend is still there, though. That's good. Invalidates at 211. My entry is still in the green. It's at 207, so I don't gotta worry. It's below, you know, any invalidation of the uptrends. As long as you remain in an uptrend, I'll remain green. That's all that really matters here. Targets for it, 243, resistance 250 psychologically, and then, I don't know, 253 local top, 257. It seems really tight. Once again, lots of volatility from the past week is really messing up these pivot levels, so it's a bit difficult to pinpoint exactly where good entries would be. For other altcoins that haven't really had big movements, I think it's a bit easier to determine that. What are we doing with hype over here? Are we even seeing a rise? We flipped to a bullish super trend. That's finally good. Support coincides there at 44, and my entry's at 43, so this is good. We did see 50 before, though. Price is at 48. 51 is where we reached. All right. Yeah, hype is looking good overall. We're dangerously close to, I don't know, temporarily breaking this uptrend, but I think we could easily adjust it, even if we drop to like 44.58. You could just readjust the uptrend and you'll still be in it. It'll be fine. So for the time being, that's what we got. XRP, pathetic 297. Really boring price action on XRP. I don't like it. We're at the pivot level, $3 psychological resistance, 314 first resistance that we do got to focus on, and then 327. I still have my take profit at 333. I'm not expecting anything big from XRP. Nonetheless, I mentioned this in streams before, I'm still holding on to these because we are expecting ETFs to come out for them. And that's going to be more of a sell the news event for me. As soon as that happens, we seeing ETFs get approved, I'm out. Bye. Probably, I don't know, depending on whose ETFs gets approved. If it's Grayscale, yeah, buy. But if it's anyone else, we're getting a lot more. It's not just Grayscale ETF, but yeah. And we do have Rex Osprey ETF or XRP, by the way, if you haven't known. But it's a small company and it seems like nobody really cares. They want the big institutions to start getting involved over here with the ETFs. All right, SUI, the better option here. 357, 0% movement today. Uptrend is matching perfectly with that super trend. It's nearing my entry price, which is good. The super trend, that is. Current price is 357. Local top 369. Resistance at 380, and then $4. $4 is going to be a difficult target for SUI to break out of, because we did bounce off of that one before. We approached 397, and then we came back down all the way to 306. Imagine that. Lost a whole dollar that fast. I like SUI for its volatility and its growth potential that it has. Very, very good option. I do want to see it above like 370, though. The 369. I do expect to see it over here. In this zone, at least. Would be ideal. Cardano still struggling to break these downtrends. I love this price action that I drew over here. It's so cool to see those triangles forming. Anyway, 84 cents. My entry's 81 still. Same deal with Cardano. Don't expect too much. I'm just in it for the ETFs. Sell the news, and I'm out. Chainlink, 2179, 2180. Approaching this uptrend. Yeah, it's valid. The uptrend is still valid nonetheless. Even if we drop to 2097, we're still technically in an uptrend. So I'm not concerned with Chainlink. I've given my explanations as to why it's slowed down a bit. It has to do with the government shutdown, but that's all. Stellar, 40 cents. On the rise today. Interesting. Local top at 41. Resistance is 42. I'm still expecting 49. This I'm planning to hold for longer term. I've got more at stake on here. I know we're not necessarily getting ETFs, not that I know of, for Stellar, but I know it's a much better project than XRP for individuals like us, not for big corporations. If you care about decentralization, Stellar's the better option compared to Ripple. Anything else? I haven't looked at Compound for a while. We're just hovering around my entry, no big change. Athena. I was hoping for this to happen, it seems. Kind of on the way down currently. 58 cents. I need an entry at 53 to lower my average price, which is at 63. A little too high. And I still have my trust in Athena. I think it's a good project. So maybe this is still at hand. We'll see. Resistance at 66, very clearly. Yeah. The support obviously 54. Might have to adjust this actually. Because we have the new pivot level that is a bit higher. So I'm gonna probably increase this support, and I'll do it right now. How much money is this? Probably 1,000. Yes. Yep. So 0.5402, 0.5344 plus 0.5305 is that. Average all those three. That's your entry. 53.50. You could expect price to be oversold by then, hopefully. So I'm gonna be happy to drop 1,000 there. Perfect. Okay. What is next? I mean, Hedera also, I feel like I could probably increase my exposition here. I did not mean to do that. Lock that in place so it doesn't move. We've got some entries probably at 20 or 21. Late 20, early 21. Round over here. I think I'm gonna... Yeah, I think I'm gonna put an entry here, because we could be oversold, right? If price decides to do something like this. Right? In the event of a drop. I don't know what next week is going to bring us, so you got to prepare for quite literally anything. Could remove that. And we do have a downtrend for it that I must pay attention to. We were higher here. Yeah, I'll go to a larger time frame to draw a downtrend later on. But for now, I want to average out these entries. What do we got? 0.21030, 0.2938, 0.2770. So that's that divided by 3. That's your entry. 2091. How much do I have in here? 1,453. What does this mean? I don't know how many entries specifically I made, but this is really high. I'll drop 1,000 to drop it as much as I can. Doesn't seem like much, but same deal with Hedera. ETF coming out for it. Sell the news. I'm out. Goodbye. That's all I'm here for. Gotta be shameless when it comes to the futures markets. Don't hold on to stuff for too long. Take profits if you do see them. Like actually good profits though. Relative to how much you're risking, of course. I tend to not use a stop loss. And if I do use a stop loss, it's in a positive territory. Because I try not to lose money. But you're going to tell me, but you're risking money. You're using liquidation. I know, but it's 3x liquidation, and tell me something is going to drop 30% in a day. And that's why I'm not putting too much either. Because I'll have enough to cover for, you know, any margin calls if that is the case. I could just add more margin to these positions, drop my liquidation price to 0 if I really want to save the position. If not, I'll just let it get liquidated because it'll be like, oh yeah, this coin that I didn't really care about. Maybe, for example, research coin. I could care less about this project. At the moment, I still have to research it. Again, I know. Well, we're at a low price. But, yeah, I don't plan on investing on this for long term. And if this immediately goes to liquidation price, I would just not care. I'd be like, you know what? You deserve the money. Congratulations. I don't care about this project. But for most other tokens, you're going to notice that is usually not the case. And if we do get a 30% drop in a day, it's because World War III is happening. And will you really care about getting liquidated on a leveraged position if a bomb drops on your head, as Trump likes to say? So probably not, right? Oh, Pengu was doing really well. I guess I did not decide to take profits over here. Where would I take profits? Whenever we become overbought. After this one, of course. We are in an uptrend, so I want to take advantage of the movement. And this is what the uptrend's looking like on Pengu. Same deal, right? Leveraging on meme coin plays. Big cap meme coins. Memes that'll make me laugh if I look at them. I see Pepe, Penguin, And I laugh. All right. Yeah, they still got some room to run. This is not valid. I need to draw resistances for Pepe so that I could determine to take profit later. We hit a first resistance at 0.103295. I don't know if I trust pivots for now, but according to Fibonacci, next one is 0.107827. Really? We're still at 0.10? This used to be at like 0.20, 0.30. I'm looking at micro movements though, that's for sure. You know what I forgot? I was going to draw a downtrend on H-bar, so let me do that. I'm going to go to weekly chart first. Will we even have enough data? Yeah, we kind of do. So we kind of got this going on for it. I'm going to go back to a 4-hour chart to micro adjust. It's looking like this is probably going to have to go here. I'm going to go to the top of this one. Seems like this is that top. We topped out at 30 for Hedera. I think with ETF optimism, we could probably approach those areas. We're at 21, so could definitely be the case. It would be worth holding on to this. Breakout of 23 would absolutely be necessary. And then I'll consider putting a take profit. I don't know what's going to catalyze this kind of movement. Maybe the peace deal in the Middle East. But with ETF hype, I think we'll be very near to $30 by that time. For now, we're looking at supports, though. All right, cool. Yeah, I think that's all for the tokens that I am analyzing frequently. Bitcoin's breaking up. 124,000, okay. Keep doing your thing. Maybe new all-time high while we're live. That would be insane, and we'll go against everything that I'm standing here for. I still remain with, you know, if we do see a drop, this is kind of the thing I'm expecting. I don't think October is going to be up forever. It'll be foolish, naive to think that, wouldn't you agree? So that's why I'm just being cautious with things. If we do see a drawdown, I take advantage of it. A valid one, one that's sufficient though. The issue with Bitcoin right now is if we do drop to, what is this, 118,000, I don't think we're going to be like necessarily oversold at that area. Because we are just overall in a very strong uptrend. We're like super close to all-time highs even. That's why I was more rooting for like 116,000 maybe to be that like oversold area if we do see a bounce. Might still be the case, that's why I'm just waiting for things to kind of play out, see what happens. But for the time being, if you don't have anything you want to FOMO, for a very short-term trade for DCA, you could look at 118, below 119,500. But even I don't even think I would enter here. It still seems too high to me. I remember telling myself I'm never buying Bitcoin above 100,000, and then here I am trying to buy at all-time highs. Isn't that crazy? Whatever. Not a financial advisor. Do whatever you want with your big bucks. Moving on. News time. Trump is posting this on Truth Social talking about OPEC, which has to do with crude oil, things like that, but also to address the home building situation, the housing cost prices. He said that before I became president, OPEC kept oil prices high. I agree. It wasn't right for them to do that in a different form. It is being done again, and he starts talking about the home builders. But I do want to talk about OPEC and crude oil at the current moment because oil is at very low levels. If I can load the chart. Oh, we're on the rise again. Cool. I do have an open position in oil around here. I purchased this dip when it was oversold. I should have purchased more over here, but I don't know why. I was just not paying attention. I don't like analyze oil all the time. Usually when it's relevant to analyze it, like on Wednesdays, we have the inventory reports, the oil stock change, right? So it's important to look at that, whether or not we have too much oil, we have less oil, supply and demand, right, is what drives the prices. If we have too much oil, more than expected, prices crash because we're like, okay, we don't need this much oil, sell it off. But if we're like, oh, we actually didn't fill up enough oil, crude oil barrels or whatever, yeah, we got to buy more and prices start rising again because of that. It's all supply and demand, basically, and it's controlled by this organization. I don't know what it stands for in English, but it's just a group of nations that control the prices of oil, basically. And it is true what Trump was saying. If I go zoom out a little bit, prices were high for it. This was partially thanks to, I guess, Biden and the wars that were going on, especially in the Middle East at that time. Every time Iran attacked Israel or vice versa, you see a big spike up in the prices, and it did happen during Trump as well. I'm not going to rule that out. We had price skyrocket from, what was this, 54 to 77. I think I entered here at a good price, but I just sold a bit too early before this huge rise up in prices for oil. But whatever, I'm holding this one right here. I don't think we're dropping anymore, to be honest. We were really oversold on oil is what I'm seeing. So that is why I decided, you know what, it's a good time to buy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 support levels. I mean, support attempts to break out of it, and we finally did. So this is your big opportunity to enter from, you see what I'm talking about, right? Let me try to draw a line. Sure, do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the 6th attempt that we try to go break out, we finally did, and that is what causes, you know, prices to be oversold over here. That's a good idea to buy so that we can hopefully see things start coming up again. We already see a movement to the upside on the RSI over here. We're not necessarily overbought yet, and I mean, even if we do, I would be barely positive, so I'd probably hold on to it, wait for price to crack 63, become an uptrend, and then I'll consider selling. Who knows? It's also a good idea to maybe have some exposition into it, because what if Hamas declines the deal and the war continues in the Middle East? Middle East, of course, a big area where oil is, what do you call it? Drilled? The oil production, the oil rigs. Yeah, so if a conflict happens there, they're going to restrict access to that, and that means less supply. So and if the demand is still there to outpace that, that's what drives the prices of oil higher. It's usually in times of war, it's oil and gold that rise up. We're seeing gold still at all-time highs, by the way, just on a side note. 3,920 just hit a couple hours ago. We're at 3,907. We're almost at $4,000 for gold. Hey, you know what? I was saying, maybe we even see this with Bitcoin. Bitcoin trails the price of gold. If that is the case, I don't know, maybe we're seeing Bitcoin around over here right now. And then we have still this much amount of money. I mean, movements left to rise for Bitcoin. Just imagine. That would be pretty cool. I'm not saying that exactly will happen, but we do know that Bitcoin does trail the price of gold. I'll finish reading the post from Trump. All right. This time, it's not right for this to be happening by the big home builders of our nation. They are my friends, because Trump also, real estate, you know. And they're very important to the success of our country, but now they can get financing and they have to start building homes. They're sitting on 2 million empty lots, a record. I'm asking Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac to get big home builders going, and by doing so, help restore the American dream. So build more homes to house more people. Canada should take notes. We have so much land, but nowhere to house the people. It's so counterintuitive, and we just keep importing them. And they keep on, you know what, I'm just going to stop before I go too far. Here's the big news we were expecting at 6. This came out at 5:56 p.m. Eastern Time, which is right before the 6 p.m. deadline, right? Trump says there have been very positive discussions with Hamas and countries from all over the world, Arab, Muslim, everyone else, this weekend, to release the hostages and the war in Gaza, but more importantly, finally have long-sought peace in the Middle East. These talks have been very successful and proceeding rapidly. The technical teams will again meet Monday in Egypt to work through and clarify the final details. Okay, what happened to the whole no delay situation? You know, I'm gonna pull up the post right over here, because it's like, okay, what are we doing here then? Where is that post? That's not it. It should be from yesterday. Is it this one? It is not this one. I think it's this one. I will not tolerate delay, which many think will happen. And I will also not tolerate any outcome where Gaza poses a threat again. Let's get this done fast. And again, he reiterates, I am asking everyone to move fast, right? I'm told the first phase should be completed this week, and I'm asking everyone to move fast. I will continue to monitor this centuries-old conflict. Time is of the essence, or massive bloodshed will follow, something that nobody wants to see. I don't know. It seems like it's getting delayed. It seems like what we were expecting is happening, I guess. The whole taco thing. And also, some people are like, okay, well, what is Trump really doing then? So anyways, I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens tomorrow, Monday, at Egypt. What little details they want to clarify before they accept the deal, although that should have been considered by now and finished. Anyways. Seems like they are starting to make some moves, though. Here's a report that the Palestinian Transport Minister, his name is Tariq Zurab, has fled to Canada after he was fired under accusations of embezzlement. That means he was taking money and not doing his job with it, using it for other expenses, right? This firing comes amid a broader crackdown on corruption by the Palestinian Authority in order to comply with Donald Trump's Gaza peace plan. Fair enough, good, I guess, get the corrupt people out of office. But why did he have to come to Canada? Why did we accept him? If he's clearly doing some sort of fraud. And this is funny. Before you know it, he'll be sitting in the House of Commons in Canada. Great. That's like the last thing we need over here. Can we just not accept these people into the country? I mean, where else are they going to go, right? We're already flooded with these kind of people anyway. Have you looked at the streets? The Palestinian parades that go on? Or protests, not parades, whatever. I don't know. I don't know what to make of that. But I'm not that happy, of course. While we're on the topic of Canada, I guess I support this as well. Coming from the Conservative side, they're calling on Mark Carney, the Prime Minister Liberal, to immediately scrap the Liberal bail and vote on motion to pass the Jail Not Bail Act. Because this is another issue, right? Criminals just keep on getting released on bail. It's also an issue in the United States. They get charged so many times, they go to jail, they pay a bail, they're out. And they're still committing crimes. Just put them in jail for life. They were trying to originally implement a 3 strikes and you're out, but at that same thing, I'm like, okay, depends on the severity of what kind of crime you've done, right? Jail for life, honestly. My opinion on it. Anyways, that's all for geopolitics. Let's move on to the crypto news. This rise in Bitcoin over here was thanks to $80 million worth of crypto shorts being liquidated in the past 60 minutes. Not this past 60 minutes, but just in 60 minutes. Literally, look, this was posted at 11 p.m. I finished my stream at 10 p.m. And then it started rising like crazy. That whole 60-minute time period, it was $80 million worth of shorts getting liquidated, causing Bitcoin's price to reach an all-time high of 125,843. I guess people weren't expecting price to continue rising anymore at that point. Me personally, I'm completely against shorting something like Bitcoin, but there's people who try to outsmart the markets and, you know, trying to time the tops exactly, which I don't think we're at the top at this time. If anything, we're far from it, so shorting Bitcoin, not a good idea. But then if somebody tells me, well, do I long Bitcoin at these prices? And I would say no. Just stay out of it because it's at an all-time high level. Here, you're supposed to already be in Bitcoin. And now is not the question of, do I long or do I short? Now is the question of, where the heck do I sell? Me, I sold. Arguably early, but I do plan on getting back in. So Just trust me. I'm trying to find a post. Where are you? Here it is. Speaking of shorters, James Wynn, odd. He's the one who has been the most bullish, is suddenly flipped bearish over here. $1 billion Bitcoin whale, James Wynn. He's famous for trading on Hyperliquid and everybody trying to liquidation hunt him, right? He is back with a 25x Bitcoin short. When was this posted? Today in the morning. Okay, never mind. His liquidation price, 127,000. I think he is going to get liquidated again. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. If not just by natural price movement, people will just pump the price artificially to get him liquidated. It seems to be the case here. That's why he's more interested in like dark pools where that information is hidden, your entry price, your liquidation price, because it's on Hyperliquid, everything is public. They're focused on transparency, so everybody can see based on your Hyperliquid address on Hyperscan. Yeah, they see where your entry is, how much margin you've got in it, how much leverage, and where you're getting liquidated. And if they hate you, if the crypto community hates you, on Twitter especially, then you're screwed. You can't trade. You have to go anonymous somehow. Anyways. There was these posts talking about an alt season breakout having to do with the crypto market cap and Bitcoin dominance, stuff like that. It has to do with Total 3. We'll talk about this. It's apparently false. All these charts failed to use the Total 3 ES. The Total 3 ES, it's a measurement that you see in the chart over here that includes all of the altcoins except for stable coins. What people are showing when they talk about alt season breakout is including stablecoin market cap, which a stablecoin is not necessarily an altcoin. It is money that can flow into altcoins, yes, but it shouldn't be part of, you know, these kinds of charts. So we haven't necessarily had a breakout just yet when it comes to alt season market cap or altcoin market cap for alt season. So there's the comparison right there. Right? So don't let your favorite influencer bait you into thinking alt season has broken out when it has not yet. Agreed. But that's a good sign. Don't take it in the bad way. That means you're still early, probably, for alt season. I think I am. I'm already in most of these. I'm expecting them to all go green pretty soon, later on this month. The fact is that we are very overbought on Bitcoin specifically. We do see it kind of coming down over here, but it's just like how much overbought is too much, right? I do feel like a correction has to happen, even if it's at 118,000, sure. But it's going to be rough. I don't know exactly when or how or if that will happen. Here's some more updates on El Salvador. President Nayib Bukele posts El Salvador's Bitcoin reserve showing a $475 million unrealized profit, which is great. El Salvador has been buying 1 Bitcoin every day, and they bought 21 Bitcoins, I think, on Bitcoin Day, whenever that was, I think, maybe a month ago. We have an update from Michael Saylor saying that he will not be buying Bitcoin. No new orange dots this week. He still posted the chart, which it's usually a sign that he is going to be buying Bitcoin. But, I mean, fine. You know what? We're at all-time highs. We'll give him a pass. You don't have to buy at all-time highs, right? So he's just saying there's just a $9 billion reminder of why we hodl. Fair enough. These guys are very much in the green. MicroStrategy is doing well. He's even replying to Mr. Beast telling him to buy Bitcoin. And I think this comes out of... There's videos surging from Mr. Beast from the past talking about Bitcoin. He mentioned one time that he was mining Bitcoin on his PC. I don't know, but something got corrupted with his PC or it got broken, so he lost that Bitcoin. But that means Mr. Beast knew about Bitcoin almost 10 years ago, right? Speaking of 10 years, he just posted a video of Hello Me in 10 Years, a video that he recorded in 2015. And it just released today. It was automatically scheduled to come out 10 years after he recorded that video. And it's pretty cool watching that. He was hoping that he would have 1 million subscribers. And I'm like, brother, you have like 400, almost 500 million. So, I mean, he well passed his goal, so that's good. And in relation to crypto over here, back at it, uh, Mr. Beast actually bought Aster. Did you guys know that? I covered it before. And he bought at the top and sold at the bottom, so he's not a good trader, let's just say that. I think he bought like over here, made the price bump to 198, almost $2, I think. No, this would have been $2. And then price started crashing as soon as Mr. Beast bought in. That was like the top indicator, and then he sells at the bottom. So he lost, what was it, $200,000 or something like that? The guy's rich, he doesn't care. But Michael Saylor, hey, because Mr. Beast is rich, he's telling him to buy Bitcoin. Maybe Mr. Beast does have Bitcoin. I think we do have... I think we can track Mr. Beast on Arkham, I think. Let me just see if I could find him, Mr. Beast, on Arkham and tell. Yeah, he does have some cryptocurrencies, actually. I was right. He's got Ethereum. 0.54 Ethereum. That's not a lot. $2,000. Yeah, these are like very small holdings. 2,000 in FYN. I don't know what that is. HOD. What are these coins? What are you investing in, Mr. Beast? What is this? Optimism. He's got about 200 bucks. Baby Grok. Oh no. What are you doing? Binance. He's got $3 in Binance. Here it is. Here's the Aster trade. So I'm not crazy, guys. He literally did do that. He bought... Does he say where he bought? 2 weeks ago. Oh, it's telling me the price in BNB. I don't know how to read this. Oh, that's the fee. Okay. The fee was in BNB, of course. Does it say how much? Am I blind? Oh, here it is. Value. $67,000 he purchased or sold. I forget. What did I click on? Aster. And this is the sold one. Let me see here. What did you do? No, I don't think it's going to tell me how much he bought for, unless I'm, like, blind. Yeah, I'm probably blind, or maybe I just don't know how to do this. This is my first time using Arkham, like, actually. I've played around with Arkham a little bit, but it seems like too much for me to handle. But yeah, there's proof. 2 weeks ago, he did get into Aster, and from what I saw on Twitter, he bought the top and sold the bottom, so probably not the best trader out there. But Michael Saylor noticed this, and he's like, you know what? Buy Bitcoin. Do it. You're richer than everyone. You should buy Bitcoin. Imagine how much of an influence that would have to his 400 million subscribers. The fact that Mr. Beast is buying Bitcoin. I'm sure some people will follow. That would get the retail investors really into it, huh? I don't even know if many people watch him anymore. I haven't watched a Mr. Beast video in such a long time. What was the last one I watched? It was like trapping 100 people in these cubes. There was like the one, a person of every age from age 1 to 100. If you step out of the cube, you're out, kind of thing. I remember that. I remember... I don't know, there was something to do with Deal or No Deal. Influencers being trapped in those cubes. People from every country, I think, being trapped in those cubes. I don't know. Long time I haven't watched his videos. Alright. Speaking of Aster, I guess. The CEO confirms each epoch in Stage 2 gets 1% of the total 4% airdrop, so there's 320 million Aster tokens getting airdropped. Vesting options are under review to curb sell pressure. Final snapshot coming soon. So they are trying to, like it says here, curb the sell pressure. So, fair enough. It seems like they did contain the drop. It didn't drop as much as someone like me would have expected it to drop. So, fair enough. Still, though, the risk of flooding circulation is there. Only addresses 4% of total tokens. Vesting for new drops ignores the 704 million unlocked at token generation event. Clever optics, questionable math. Alright, we'll see. Dog with hoodie, thank you. You love my content. Keeping up with things, thanks to you. Started a personal series of trade based on content creators. A person to believe in. Started with 0.35 solids up to 5. Good job. Yep, glad to hear that you're enjoying the content. This is where the big drama comes in with Aster and DeFi Llama. They just delisted Aster perps because of quote unquote fake volume. And this is funny. CZ with a clown face. They caught them faking the volume on their exchanges to inflate their popularity, make themselves look better. Right? Have you seen also these Asian girls that are promoting Aster at these, what was it? I think it's at Token 2049. That's an event that's been going around. Yeah, a lot of promotion with Asian girls to attract the men in there, attract investors, not just men, right? But yeah, crazy stuff. Anyways, this is a developer at DeFi Llama, place where you could track all that, the decentralized projects and how much volume they're generating, revenue, all that's good stuff. He says, or she, I don't know who this is. Name is 0xNMGI. We've been investigating Aster volumes, and recently their volumes have started mirroring Binance perpetual volumes almost exactly. The chart on the left, right over here, is XRP USDT on Aster, right? But you can see the volume ratio versus Binance is close to 1. I'm going to see if I can understand these charts here. So this is on Aster. And the chart on the right is the perpetual volume on Hyperliquid, where there's some decorrelation. Okay, that's true, because I'm assuming we're looking at this one over here, volume ratio. This is for Hyperliquid. There's not a lot towards this 1.0 threshold. Whereas with Aster, you see these huge spike ups over here that surpass that. For example, I'm just looking at that. Quick observation I can make. Aster doesn't make it possible to get lower level data such as who is making and filling orders. So until we can get that data to verify if there's wash trading, Aster perpetual futures will be delisted. They say more for other coins like Ethereum, the correlation is more extreme, but similar patterns can be seen across all pairs. Aster on the left, Hyperliquid on the right for Ethereum. Same deal. The volume just seems very inorganic here. For anyone questioning my incentives, I never owned any Hype or any Aster. So he's just saying he's not biased. He's never had any positions open on those coins. The thing he cares about is the integrity of the data, which, fair enough, yeah, that is something that you should care about. So I understand where you're coming from, but people are outraged by this. I just clicked on an image thinking it's the bookmark thing. Anyway. Binance level liquidity on Aster. Seems like people are taking that quite literally. This is a very long ago post from, what is this? What is this date? I don't know how to read dates. Whatever, June 5. So Binance migrating their liquidity on-chain to Aster apparently is not allowed. LMAO, cope more Llama. How much did you get paid? Some people are saying like this is all just fake. And this is also part of the important stuff going on over here. They could have delisted this any day of the week because the data has been there for such a long time, but they choose to do it perfectly, timing it with the airdrop FUD. There are no coincidences in crypto. It's two cartels behind the scenes competing with each other, and DeFi Llama is not in the Binance camp. Interesting observation, and also something that I pointed out earlier is that the coincidence, the fact that this FUD is coming out at the same time as the airdrops, it's like they want Aster's price to go down. But it didn't. Surprisingly. It did, but not as much as expected. I'm sure this is a big, 9.98% candle. Seems like a little bit because the chart is still new, but it is a decent drop over here. Not enough for an entry in my opinion, though. We didn't really go oversold, so I'm still staying out of Aster. Although I would like to get some exposition because I want to be part of that hype, you know? We don't have a Binance listing on it either, so anyway. People are disappointed with DeFi Llama, especially this guy over here, Alex. I think he's like really pro Aster, like one of the CT influencers that are pushing this like crazy. Immediately delisting during an investigation based off a hunch. These are supposed to be trusted sources in the space. This is the importance of decentralization. We always need more than one source of information, a sort of checks and balances. So people are saying, oh, it's just the one guy who thinks, oh, that's not cool. It doesn't look organic. We're going to delist Aster because they might be inflating their volume or faking their volume. Basically this, if you don't understand what I'm talking about, this is the meme explanation, a TLDR. The Aster volume seems like it's going to be like a lot, but in reality it's not, because the original meme is the sword is, it goes up to here, you know? Anyway. But other people argue that that guy, Oxengdemi, and the rest of the Llama crew are among the best, most transparent actors in this space when it comes to data availability and on-chain metrics. The fact that they are acting on the information that a massive percentage of Aster's volume is wash traded, which even many of the Aster key opinion leaders have acknowledged, should not be surprising to anyone. Interesting take. All right, so that's the big issue with Aster. I'm going to keep this bookmarked because it's genuinely important, I think. This is on a separate news. Moving on. John McAfee thinks he knows who is Satoshi Nakamoto. This is a man who has already passed away, lived a crazy life. I'm sure you guys know John McAfee from the McAfee antivirus, right? The virus. But yeah, he was also really big on cryptocurrencies and Monero specifically because it was actually true decentralization. So yeah. So here he is basically explaining that the Bitcoin white paper, not wallpaper, is the biggest indicator of who created Bitcoin, the Satoshi Nakamoto, right? And I'm going to try to like get the clip on properly. Hold on. I don't know if this is loud enough.
Who is Satoshi? Well, that's the author of the fucking white paper. I don't know if they flipped a coin, drew straws to say who writes it. But if you want to know which one it was, run some authoring software against it, because everybody involved, especially Dr. Beck, had written dozens of technical papers.
So people who are writing a bunch of white papers, right?
Let me give you some clues. In Satoshi's white paper, every word that has dual spellings for American and British English is British.
So Satoshi Nakamoto might be British.
Yeah. It's all British. Every sentence is followed by 2 spaces. Now that's a minority choice in most papers.
So after every sentence, there's 2 spaces. And then it's all coming down to narrowing down who writes in British English and uses 2 spaces. There's not a lot of people that do that. And he's saying you guys could just Google it, basically. Figure out who the Satoshi Nakamoto is. John McAfee claimed to know who that is, but I don't know.
2 spaces. No, there are only 2 of the accused who were British. And only one of those has 2 spaces in every one of his papers. Figure it out, people. It'll take you 15 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough. I guess I'll have to do my own research on this later, if I care at all, but anyway.
But he doesn't want to be known. I'm not going to name him.
And yeah, he's not going to name him. So yeah, there's your little brief answer. I'll be looking into that later. All right, and that almost concludes our stream here. My last post. This is just interesting, to say the least. There's a new app called Text with Jesus. It allows users to message AI-generated biblical figures, including Mary, Joseph, Moses. The app's creator says most users are embracing the new way of worship, while the critics slam it as blasphemous, calling on people to open a Bible instead. I think I'm the latter when it comes to this stuff. I don't know about this thing, because, yeah, if you want to talk to Jesus or saints, pray, really. I don't think we need AI to kind of... It's AI. It's created by humans. It's not going to be like the perfect response. I don't know. I don't know what to think of this, honestly. But yeah, anyway, outrage from that. Pretty interesting. Aster seems to have bottomed out over here. Looks like we're not going to get the entry that we want. Bitcoin still almost at 124. Still 123,913. Good stuff. What are we expecting next week? Fed speeches. Bostic, Bowman, Maran. Maran's the good guy. That is on Tuesday. On Wednesday, we're getting Musalem, Bar. And then Thursday is the big guy. Sorry, Wednesday, I forgot to mention Kashkari. Yeah, Bar. Bar twice. What? Thursday, Fetcher, Powell. This is the one that's going to matter the most. What the other people say doesn't really matter. We might be getting some economic data here. FOMC minutes also happening on Wednesday. But we don't have any economic data to really talk about. So it's like, what are we going to do? Inflation readings. This is the week after. There's still no clear date when we're getting our non-farm payroll data. They said it was going to be delayed because of the government shutdown, but I'm not seeing anything else over here. All right. So Wednesday and Thursday, look out for those days next week. Just all Fed banter, really. Which should be positive nonetheless. They're going to talk about the weakening labor market and make us think rate cuts are still coming. I have not looked at the percentages in a while, so let me have a look at it. Pretty sure we're still at like a high 90% something for a rate cut in October. 94% chance. And then the rate cut in December should also be, yeah, 82% chance. So it's looking good. Okay, yep, that'll conclude the stream for tonight, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed, learned something new. Make sure you like, subscribe, do all that stuff. Thanks for everyone who's supporting the channel. Appreciate it a lot. I'll see you tomorrow. We'll see what news we get by then. Obviously, I don't know what we're going to get from Egypt. What the fine-tuned details are that Hamas is requesting. Just say yes or no. Just say yes, actually. Don't even say no to the ceasefire plan. So that we could all just moon at this point. But it's kind of like the only thing that's really holding us back in terms of war. I mean, you still have Russia, Ukraine, but it's like those people aren't doing nothing. They're just going to keep killing each other, and that's that. Oh well. Anyway, yeah, that'll be all for tonight. Thanks guys for watching.